But King James is saying not the government is liable. But I was telling him that no, they can't, you gotta have every, those and who are
Yeah,
also
yeah. Well,
responsible, King
like you
James.
said, yeah. Well,
So I'm trying
the
to
list
get you.
clear,
I'm trying to open the camera here for you, Apostle Michael DeFreitas. Open up the camera and you come on so we can have a
Yes, I'm right
discussion
here. I'm
here. This
right
is for the
here. I'm right
people.
here.
This is for justice. Oh, very
Yeah, I'm
nice,
right
very
here.
nice. Yes, I've seen you a lot on. Welcome and King James, you from Guyana?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, you open up the camera. Open up the camera. Don't be afraid. And
yeah.
Apostle, you from where?
I'm from Guyana on the
Are you in
East
Guyana
Coast.
or States?
No, Guyana, but I live in New York.
Oh, you live in New York. So
Yeah.
tell me, Michael, what you think about this?
This is I want to commend you on your nobleness, your honesty, and I want to say that clearly all this trouble is at the foot of the government because they dropped the ball. So I'm not gonna sit here and no, they robbed the Guyanese people and they must be accountable. Everything is at the foot of the government, square and fair. So I'm not and said it from the beginning. They should have had the harbor master taking control over all the processes of the complete structure. But they just love power and they do not have structure. Power without structure is failure. So they are bound to fail because they fail to put systems in place to bring greater safeguards and railings to prevent these type of things. And instead of people who are educated to speak in these matters, you are getting a lot of emotions rather than facts. Stay where you belong. Stop being ignorant. Stop being emotional. Stop acting like a crab louse where you don't belong. You need to disinfect your mind because you will continue in mental slavery and Guyana and Guyanese will go nowhere and the country will continue to bleed because you have vampires within the system, demons and dark-minded people just seeking to fulfill their pleasures, being underwater and being sophisticated and and they can hold the grand parties and while the rest of the nation suffers and bleed. We cannot continue a system of elites against a system by rich and vastly poor. We need to nip it in the bud. And from the time Mr. Trump said 12%, we need to say 20% increase on the oil and stop Exxon rape of our resources and Trump foolery of our resources. And for the ambassador to have the audacity to say that the 2% must not be increased, she needs a mental check. She needs a psychiatrical check because she has failed to be decent and honorable, to be in Guyana and to officiate over any diplomacy whatsoever. And I land my plane. Indecent people must not be allowed to operate in Guyana.
Oh, you talk about American ambassador?
Yeah.
She's just what you would call a clerical position within the United States cabinet and government. And people don't understand when they go there as ambassador, especially when you go to smaller countries. You're not really right up the totem pole. You got to go to the Secretary of State and to the cabinet and the Minister of Commerce, and that's where we're going with this. And we wrote President Trump, and we also asked the Minister and the Secretary of State and the cabinet and the Commerce. Now that Trump has said that Exxon, he's called him out and said, you're greedy, you're causing these problems all over the world wherever you go. And if he only come and said, you know what, you see those people in Guyana, we're giving 2%, give them more, that will be a great move. And that is where now we got to move. And that is why I was saying earlier in the program, I don't know if you heard it.
Yes, I heard you. Yes, I
tell them that
Thank
you
you
almost
for saying
go
so,
now.
sir. Thank you.
Yeah, instead of you go now and you just sit down in the air-conditioned office, call up, go to the State Department. Some are in Washington, some are in United Nations, some are right here where the president is. Connect to the president's people. You might not meet President Trump, but you can meet his people and he will call them in and say, what have you got for me? Where's my daily report? And the daily report is that the people of Guyana their representative, are asking and following up and thanking you for what you said about this 2% by Exxon, and that you should now ask Exxon, who will bend to your bow to your wishes, to give them 10%. That is the best opportunity, and I'm hoping that somebody does that. And I'm hoping the president of Guyana can pick up the phone and find 5 minutes to call the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and said, Mr. Rubio, can you help me, sir? Right now, we got problems. We got 100 people dead, and we need help here. Can you ask these people to lift up this boat? That's one. They're coming and taking our oil right down from the bowels of our earth, and they're taking a lot of oil. They're just giving us 2%. Can you help us to get 10%? That is the best way of getting that solved.
Mr. Albert, I
Yes,
just want
yes, I agree, sir. I agree with you.
Yes, King
I must
James.
thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I want to say I see you as a champion, not only in New York, but I think you have a strong political life and career in Guyana to be one of our leaders, to step to the front and save our great nation. God has blessed you with a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, and I want to commend you for your stalwart, noble work. God bless you forever and your family. And shall you rise to the occasion to save our great nation. There's nobody in Guyana can light a candle to your contributions. They are persona non grata when it comes to you. They can't hold a candle to your experience and your knowledge. So I ask you, when the time comes, that you step up and show your leadership, because I know you possess that leadership to lead our nation. Thank you for showing us your true son of the soil word. In the name of Jesus, I pray for you and your family. Thank you so much.
But Apostle, those words are very uplifting, and those are the words that motivate fighters and gladiators like myself. You know, when I fought the system over here, there wasn't anybody like me that ever entered into the politics, Guyanese and so on. They always think about us as Joe and Stung and as people who don't belong. And I broke down those barriers, and I'm still fighting and breaking them. There's a lot of racism, as you know, living in New York, where we are broad brushed and we're ridiculed and ostracized and targeted and minimized, marginalized. And we have fought and been elected, and we continue to fight. But I see a greater calling for me in the land of my birth here, because I have seen insult
I'm sensing it. I'm sensing it, sir. I'm sensing it strongly, sir. And the day you put your foot on Guyana soil to take command, I'm telling you, you will be heavily supported by all 7 races of our country. I promise you that. I'm saying this prophetically. You will be blessed to take the charge forward.
I agree with that, though. Yeah.
Where is that, King James?
It's I mean, 100. I appreciate the 100% to what this big man just say here.
Yes, yes. And you know what? I see people not talking out, and I suspect that it's because they're afraid. They are silenced. And that's not how, as you know, living in New York, how we grow up here. We got to speak. If we don't speak, we don't get anything. We use the freedom of the press. We fight immigration. We fight the government. We fight the city. I mean, I have had a successful career, but I grew up in the church, Pastor. I grew up as a Presbyterian in Better Hope. And I was brought up in the church as a Sunday school teacher and so on. My father was a high car driver, so I grew up poor. But he gave me the skills to go to Queen's College and blessed me, and thank God for that. That he brought me to a place where I became the youngest lawyer, the youngest magistrate, and I did the criminal cases in Guyana and so on. Then I left and came to America and became a lawyer here too. But I know life is a circle, life is a cycle, life is something that goes back and comes around. And I see that I've done a lot of work here, but I see that, and I'm so happy that Guyana is now climbing up. And I don't like what I'm seeing now. I don't like it at all, because I see and what I hear, and it can't be 100% people lying. Everybody's stepping for themselves, and they got layers and layers of bribery and kickbacks and accountability, and people are afraid.
Right now, the system, is like failing Guyana.
It's failing Guyana.
Yes, the system is what I get is not good at all.
Now,
we truly need a leader that respects our constitution, and with your vast, I sit and listen to you and I'm like, wow, why weren't this man infused into the Guyanese political system way now? But you know what? God doesn't make mistakes. God always the God of on time. He's always an on-time God. And this is your revealing. This is the moment of your lifting. This is the moment of your anointing to walk into territories that dark people cannot enter. You have the light of glory on you, and God will lift you to take you to that permanent place that He has ordained for you before you were even born. You're ordained for this moment, my brother. I'm a strong believer of God. I fast, I pray, I teach, I preach, and God has given me tremendous insight that this is the year of the lifting of His people, because He has called us to have dominion, one, to have authority, and to reign until He comes. And you are equipped, my brother. You are equipped. None of them is equipped like you. None. And anybody who had the salt to tell you that you are, oh, why are you pushing your face? No, God has equipped you. Your experience has equipped you. Your poverty has equipped you. Fear not, said God. Step forth in the calling that He has called you to lead, and not to be and not to be led by anyone. You're a leader, and He's equipped you fully to lead Guyana and great as a great nation with great wealth to prosper all of us. Because I listen to you, you're very fair, you're very balanced, you stick to the law and the procedures of law, and that makes you an outstanding leader. Thank you for putting your foot to the plow and not looking back. In the name of Jesus.
Well, brother, yes, those are uplifting words. And a lot of people are agreeing with you, Nadir Prasad, Baby Ali, and a lot of other folks on this live here. And they're certainly, they're certainly join with you. Well, what I have done is to make sure that where I stand, as you know, God has said that even where there's a bushel of light, that there shall be no darkness. And even as I sit here from Queens, New York, from my humble abode, I have cast light on that issue in Guyana. And I've communicated. The world is now global, Pastor. And the world has reached to me, where I'm getting emails and I'm getting a lot of calls from people who've afflicted.
Thank you.
A lot of Marines. I've compiled a list. So here we have a lawsuit in the making, the basis of what you call a class action lawsuit, but over there you call it representative action.
Hallelujah.
That if one person sued, the rest going to benefit the same way.
After just now, I was watching one little girl who went in the same tragedy with her both, right? Last, she both parents, she mother and father. That girl must be like, where was it, like 5 to 6 to 7 years, right? You tell me our person like would feel like we gotta grow without no parents at all with her. It's like she gotta live with her for the rest of her life. And she know that it's a hard thing she pass through, you know?
Yes. You need the counseling, you need the monetary value, you need the emotional support, you need the government's interaction. And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the reforms, I'm not saying the counseling. I just see everybody trying to save themselves and everybody trying to fight this thing politically. I don't see it come together of Guyana. I just see people trying to, score points.
Yes.
All sides. And I see the government not doing what it's supposed to do.
That's why, like, you know,
people like that.
Some night we just come out together on a live and we just start out something. We say everybody should come as one and stand together in time like this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And what part of Guyana you live, King James?
I live in region 4 side.
Region 4. That's where particularly.
That's Barbies.
Barbies. Right.
Yeah.
But what the point you made is a very good one, because if you notice the people in Madia, they got like, I think some kind of $5,000, some small amount, and they sign a paper. That's what we're telling people that they're listening to us. Do not sign any paperwork. Do not give up your rights. Do not sign anything else. We have time.
Yeah.
We have time in which to even bring the lawsuit. It's till December, as I said. Gather the evidence, gather your stuff together.
The government only give them, like, the people who went in a tragedy, just give the people them, like, some of them just like 100,000. That's reaching like a 5,000 US.
And like you said, someone who's 5 years old.
500.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, like over here when you had that 9/11 disaster in America. And I'm not saying America is the greatest country. You got your own problems here too, and inequities and so on. But when you come to quantify people's life, like you said, the earnings, the education, the food, and all that, it's going to reach up. And they have a kind of scale which they use. They don't just pull up a figure that's going to devalue as you go along. And that 5,000 can be worth, lower down as it. cost. It is graded and it goes up as the cost of living go up and as inflation goes up to a situation where that person will have an equal life as they would have had their parents not been killed or murdered in that tragedy or just sacrificed.
In
But
that
this
tragedy,
here is a killing. This is a murder by negligence.
yeah, there is more by
Yeah.
negligence because that by negligence because I blame like I said government all of them involved in that because they're supposed to look out for the people as you say I love you the people them of Guyana whatever you're not supposed to make sure see that everything with them place that boat there not supposed to be on the water whatever working because the boat is already 80 something years old. I
Yes.
travel. I come where normally like I belongs to like more like in region one. That is where that boat is normally travel to go. Come on, outside mother mother. I
Yes.
get and I come away from the like since like I said about 20 years back and since then I grew up hearing about this boat here. You know,
Yes, I
me
understand.
yeah, my grandmother like she died I was at 90 and within that time as I grew up like born as youth man and hear about this boat. My grandmother and I used to talk about this boat whatever you know.
Yeah, this boat should not be there. So, King James, I'm going to try to take you off now so I can get other people to come in. I want to talk to the pastor here a little bit more. So, Pastor, Apostle, and I can see you're a man of God, and I'm glad I've met you because I've seen you before on the live. And that was the first time we were interacting.
Yeah,
What do
thank
you
you.
think about the murder charges there on the three
No,
people stay
that the
scapegoats?
murder charge is just charges to deflate the responsibility and accountability by Egil and the government. And because I was informed that Egil placed two, and I wish that this evidence comes up. Exxon is able to bring up this boat. Mr. Mohammed, the opposition leader, put in his availability of being paying for a ship. I don't know if he's going to bring it out to Brazil or where he's going to bring it out because I know Brazil has the capability technically to bring that ship up. They have it because I've researched it. I have address. I have numbers that they can call in Brazil. Rio de Janeiro is the location of one of the salvage company called Salvage. Salvage in Rio de Janeiro can respond to that location and recover that ship and bring it up. It was told to me that, and by people in social media, that Egil put two rollers on the ship, and the way that ship went suddenly swift on whichever side, right or left, it was a weight of a whiplash that sent that boat over on its side. It showed that either the rollers weren't tied properly to whatever side they didn't tie it properly that caused that whip, because in seconds
Right.
that boat flipped on the side and went under. My own chronological state of mind tells me and shows me what really transpired here. And then the first to begin with, what are the life jackets doing up above the people in a watershed kind of boat, shed kind of thing? As the people come on the boat, traveling for such a distance and time on the river, knowing that it was not strongly mechanical and seaworthy, everybody should have had their vest at all times, either in their hands or somewhere close to them, that in the case of an emergency, they can quickly put it on and strap themselves in. That was not so. So there were many levels of inefficiencies and an unsafe practice by captain and all a sundry crew on that vessel. And we need to rethink, we need to invent greater transparency and responsibility. And the young man, the Coast Guard that spoke to you, where you read out his assumptions. We need all ports to be fitted with harbor masters. I say all ports. must be fitted with harbor masters. And the harbor masters have total control of all vessels, government and private. The harbor master have all control over captains. Because if the harbor master go on the boat and oversail to sea, before the boat sets sail, the boat is not properly loaded, passengers are not properly safeguarded, then that boat cannot sail and should not be sailed. So we have the need for greater oversight and greater enforcement of law. And that's where I see the government has dropped the ball and has caused the death of so many because of negligence.
I take your points. They're very solid points there, and I think they're very intelligent points too that can guide that investigation. I heard about the two rollers, and I couldn't believe it when I saw somebody send me a video of the two rollers. And trust me, if the minister was directly responsible for those two rollers going on that ship, then he's liable for murder also. Because he's so reckless that you're going to put two rollers on a ship. You don't even anchor them down, and like you said, the whiplash, because sometimes the air ocean come, they're gone one way and they're gone that way. You didn't anchor them down. I hear the boat didn't have an anchor per se. So how can you ply a vessel as the minister and you loading up this boat with rollers when you can put it in a pontoon or you can put it in some other vehicle? How can you? And I'm sure when you put in them rollers, you're not even paying for them because you're a minister. I mean, that is a criminal act by itself.
Yes.
That's a criminal act by itself. So I don't understand why they're trying to shield somebody who's across to this whole thing.
That's true.
This person and shielding him or any other ministers who are direct culpability, they have their own accord to come and said, you know what? I am going to resign. I am being a blight on this whole government. I am being a problem here. And you can see how this thing is unfolding. They're not speaking. They're not giving explanations. Nobody's coming out. Nobody can defend this thing. Every decision is being opposed by the people. They wanted to bury the thing out at sea to make it and then call it a shrine, which is really mean destroying the evidence and burying this thing and trying to get it to rest. And then, like you said, Brazil can come in, and if they can't get Exxon, imagine you in my own country milking my sweet, and I can actually a little favor or tell you, you know what, can you live? And you got vehicles out, you got equipment in that same area, powerful $1 million, $1 billion equipment. How come they can't help us to live or get people to come? So Minister Edgell is in a very, very bad place criminally in terms of criminal charges, civil charges, responsibility, ministerial firing. I don't understand because the more he remains in focus and the more he opens his mouth. For example, he was accused recently and a police report was filed against him for threatening somebody. And the words he used against another minister, Mahipal, who I understand is no saint also, but he apparently used this word, I'm going to deal with you at the appropriate time when you're going to run for cover. I mean, these are disgusting words a minister cannot use. Only a power-drunk person will use these kinds of terms.
Yes.
I'm going to exterminate you. I'm a powerful person and nothing like you can't come with me. I mean, you can't carry yourself as a minister like that.
Agree.
So all these things are coming up. He had another incident with this same ferrying of the boat. And then there was another incident, I think, when the ambassadors and all of them went someplace, Fort Island, I think it was, or Fort. They had some event there. That's the Guyana's independence, I think it was. And the people couldn't even get to the ship and so on. They were quarreling inside the same, again, on the ship. But how come I'm not at the top? He mishandled that whole situation too, including disrespecting the diplomatic personnel there. Not catering for them.
Yes. Agree.
So if you charge Edgell, Novus, and you can't stop there, you have to go to the highest accountability. Well, here is where we have to draw the line also. I don't know how far we can go beyond the minister because I don't think the president is in the country. It's not his minister, and we can't directly connect him to the crime. And then as executive, as head of state, he may have certain immunities. But I believe from ministerial level coming down is the right place to continue. Yes, from ministerial, because that's your ministry. You can't expect a president and try to gain political mileage on that. If it was his direct minister, his direct act, then certainly he would have to be liable also. I don't know what the law, I have to read up on that again, refresh my mind. But I think presidential immunity will be afforded to the president in that capacity. But that doesn't mean he cannot lead the fight to say, Edgell, you got to go. and these are my children, these are my people. Everybody, even they listen to them, you cry with them and so on. But that is not enough. You got to compensate them. You got to give them food, clothes, and housing. You got to move them out of that sadness. You got to bring them in a place where they can see the light. You got to give them salvation. You got to be father, like that young man King James asked about if you're 6-year-old, what's going to happen to them? Any president in the world, and this is where presidents like Ronald Reagan and these great American presidents will come out and so on, and they will take responsibility for those children because they, Jawan, Nero, and so on, because these are our children, these are our Guyanese children. We are not going to make them orphans. We're not going to give them to anybody. We're not going to ask anybody to father and mother them because they're Guyanese, and these are
Exactly.
my children.
Exactly.
And I will take charge of them. We'll give them the house, the land, all the big land that we got in Guyana, make future
Yeah.
for them, allocate land to them, give them money, give them clothing, housing, accommodation. You're not taking it from your pocket.
Yeah,
You're
it's not
taking
your
it
money.
out from the oil.
Yes, it's not his money.
Or I would tell Exxon, we have a tragedy and we have a fund. Let's say Exxon or Mr. Trump or President Trump don't help us to get this 2% ratcheted up to 8-10%. Then you ask them to contribute to a fund because I think they sponsor cricket and so on. So
Yeah,
you
they
tell
do.
them this is a necessary fund that involves everybody making money out of Guyana. Beyond that contract, this is a benevolent fund that all those who are doing work in Guyana are asked to pay a percentage or are told to pay a percentage called a humanitarian tax. You name it anything. Can't come back and say, well, that takes it out of the ambit of the 2% law. So when they come and said our defense is that we are already giving 2%, they said, no. This is a new law now, a mercy law that we have implemented. And this mercy law is saying that we should not nationalize you, Exxon, or chase you out of our country as long as you contribute fairly from what you're earning to our benevolent tax, or mercy tax. Mercy, benevolent, and redevelopment tax, you call it. And that way you bring them to the table and tell them they got to pay and pay their fair share. And that is how you get this money out of them, or you ask them that you're going to terminate or do what you got to do or give them pressure. Because the problem is that they have to make sure that they can give back to what they want. You know, Exxon has the way, Pastor, of milking the riches of people. If you read the books on Exxon, their history, they
Yeah.
have raped and reaped and milked all countries in the world, and then
Yes.
it's out of there. You never hear back from them. They go to somebody else, some other third world country, some other
Yeah.
developing
Very
country.
abusive
And
company.
yeah, they move the equipment there and they set down anchor there. Exploitative. And they suck the sweet out of you. So I don't know how you could understand because a man talking Yankee and white that he can come to your country and got you wrong and swing you wrong and bring you wrong, and like I see all them. You and I know in America what we go through here.
Oh,
We
yes.
look
Oh,
them in
yes.
the eye and we know
Oh,
that
yes.
we are being exploited. So when you
Of
come to
course
my
we are.
own territory, it's like, you know, I'm not going to give you the short off my back. I've been down that road. I knew what you people believe in. You're capitalists, and I understand that. But you're not going to come here and rob me twice in my own country. And
Exactly.
probably God is giving me this intuition that I should make sure we go there. Having been exposed to all levels of evil, injustice, and so forth in this country, because when I rose as a politician, they brought fake charges on me to try to get rid of me. God brought me back and made me whole. Thanks be to God. And with that same power, with that same rehabilitation of the spirit and body and mind, I can take that to Guyana, and that is when we can make sure that justice is done there. What do you think about that?
Yes, of course. I like, you see, the thing with you, every time you speak, let me tell you something, brother. I am so honored to meet you and to be in your circle, in which, you know, I like to be around smart people. I don't like fools. And what you have demonstrated and continue to demonstrate is your depth of knowledge. Because all you just outlined about the mercy, faith, and all, you would never hear these clear, precise legal framework coming out of the mouth of Ali Jagdeo. None of these people, not even Anil Nandalal, have your depth and scope, my brother. I'm saying this without fear of contradiction. Not even Anil Nandalal has your meat Not even these guys. So anybody wants to be honest in the core of the soul, when they hear you, you are an educator. You're a legal scholar. These people don't hold nothing close to you, sir. Nothing. Anybody hear me, know me? I'm a man of integrity, honesty, and truth. I do not speak flowery words. I give a man his flower. And I would say, going forward, I look up to you with great nobleness, that you can unseat the likes of Ali, Jagdiol, Anil, all of them. You have the ability, the God-given identity to strike the devils down with the power of the Most High, Jehovah God. Fear none of these men, because they do not hold a candle to your integrity. And I land my plane. Be strong, be bold, be courageous. Jehovah God is with you.
Thank you for your prayers, brother, and to God be the glory on this. And I'm a very religious person, and my strength comes from an inner strength and with a direct relationship with God. I've had my trials and tribulations, and somehow He's never given me more than I can bear. And somehow He always showed me, well, this is what I want you to do, this is what I've done to you, and this is how you can repay me, or this is how you can further my existence. And I've studied these things, and I realize that whatever gifts God has given you, that you have to make sure that you can follow through, and that you can implement them and inspire others to carry the banner. Right now in Guyana, I think there's a putrid fear amongst people.
Yeah, there
And
is.
they don't want to talk because they feel they'll be victimized. That was the term I was looking for, and God sent back the word to me, victimized.
Yes.
They can be victimized, ostracized, marginalized, and exterminated. And that is a very dark time in our history if that is going to happen. And we got to stop that, because we are now the world's fastest economy. So why are we having all of these problems still? Why are we having all these issues going on where people don't trust each other, people are pulling down each other, people are selling out each other, people are fighting each other, everybody's fighting to to reap the sweet of Guyana? And how much you're going to eat, how much you're going to take with them, how much they're going to benefit for. And your poor brothers and sisters are not getting, a mouthful. And now we got people, over 100 of them, and nobody wants to own them. We don't even have a picture of all these people, survivors family, as a group, to say these are the people you need to help. Why isn't there no public place or an internet connection or a group called the victims of Guyana, the people who need help, the Madi survivors, the 19-day or 20, I can't remember what it is, the 73 people here, but I understand it's more than 100. They died, but all the relatives that have been identified that can be put together. There are many benefactors here that we can access and we can get to.
Yes.
You can't keep them in a bushel and hide them. If you can't help them, then other people help them. There are many people here who have been touched by that.
Agree.
So the government not bringing these people to the fore, not publicizing them, trying to put a bushel on this whole issue with a commission, and then trying to separate the issue and put distance between them and the issue, is only causing it, because Guyanese people are not stupid. I understand from talking to the people in Richmond Hill, Queens, Brooklyn, the more you try to cover up this thing, the people are not stupid. The more they're talking about it, and they're very intelligent.
That's true. That's true.
You just can't fool people and think, well, they try to make it an afterthought. They come up with this idea, they come up with this other idea, they bring up this other issue, they bring up this thing about the middle model village, how we can have village look like this, and village going to have fire hydrant, and this is the model we want to follow. And you got to address this issue and compensate these people before you talk about any other model village.
Exactly.
Because a village without a soul, that's what the people are going to turn and tell them. A village without a soul is no village. It's a collection of houses. Where's the soul of the people who are going to live in that village? What happened to the soul of the 100 people that died? Where are they now? Have you catered for them to be with God? Have you blessed them? Have you helped them? You have not. All
That's
you do
right.
is try to cover, cover, cover all the time. And I don't know who's advising these people. Apparently, there's a lot of money being spent as consultants. A lot of money being spent as
Waste time
consultants.
consultants, Mr. Albert, because one of the things with the consultant, a lot of these consultants are just there for the money, and they don't have a soul, they don't have a heart, because they don't know God. And when you don't recognize and honor the Creator, He will not fill you with divine wisdom. Divine wisdom only comes from God. There's two types of wisdom: the wisdom of the world and the wisdom of God. James 3:13-16 talks about the wisdom of the world, which is deep, deceitful, and wicked. The wisdom of God, 17, verses 17 and 18, talks about the pure wisdom of God that comes purely from God. So if you have
Right.
men walking in the wisdom of themselves, they're walking in the wisdom of the devil. And the devil is a wicked, nasty person, a nasty
Yes.
man. And so when you were speaking, I heard God said, tell him I have blessed him with the strength and wisdom of David, not forgetting David was chased into caves and all types of oppression by Saul, but yet when God ready for David, Saul himself plunged a sword in his own body to kill him when the Philistines walk upon him. This tragedy is a tragedy that will kill this administration, where God will raise you up as a David in this time and hour. You are risen for this occasion. Look at it as a
God be
moment of your
glory.
rising. This is a moment of your rising. Your hands are clean, your heart is clean. You have not done anything corrupt to Guyana, America, or no one that stands before you. Your integrity is intact. So be bold and take the bull by the horn. You are the anointed one.
Thank you, my brother. And like I said, I met you for the first time, and I'm glad that I've impressed you, and that I spend my time, making these videos and trying to solve people. But I realize that whenever I speak, that there's drawn that a lot of love is drawn towards me. And some people consider it a gift, or some people say you speak from the heart. But I realize that truth will set us free, as the Bible says, and
Yeah.
that we must stand up for this, because this is a test of our eligibility for divine mercy and for salvation. This is a test here on
Amen.
earth. And as long as you pass this test, then your future, which no one knows or can firmly say, but which is much more glorious than what we enjoy now and cannot even contribute to God's blessings and salvation, then that is the promised land. That is indeed the greater good that we must look forward to.
Yes, yes, yes. And I can tell you this also. You will personify, you will legitimize, and you will bring greater value to the office and to the people of Guyana. You will bring value to the presidency of Guyana. Hands down. Hands down. And I would like to
Yes,
see, I would like to see, the people like the Nigel Hughes and other people, the great minds, joining forces with you and taking on this illegal, criminal, racist government that Guyana and Guyanese will have. They benefit in greater value, both in Guyana and out of Guyana, because many of us would have run from Guyana for many political upheavals and want to contribute still to our country, because whether we in or out, we are Guyanese first and foremost, and we must be given the freedom to be all inclusive to the economic glory and benefit and development of Guyana. We all are Guyanese, whether we're in or out. And for the people to think that they can ostracize the diaspora with themselves have been responsible for ejecting out of that country, and believe that they're doing a good when they ostracize us. That's an evil. That's diabolical, because as we speak today, even after the Holocaust, and now the Jewish nation has received over 93 billion United States dollars for reparations to the Holocaust. To date, the Jewish Holocaust has been receiving and sending money across 45 nations where their Jewish brothers and sisters reside. You hear me?
Yes.
43 nations of the world. So who in hoodwink the PPP can say that Guyanese in the diaspora, whether you're Indian, Black, Portuguese, whoever color you are, doesn't matter, you're Guyanese, is not entitled to this wealth, sovereign wealth of Guyana? Are these people crazy? They're not even building housing schemes like you talk about housing for those who are found in this tragedy. We should have a diaspora housing development project for Guyanese who want to return home and live in peace and not to live under this draconian Babylonian system where we can have our lands, our kitchen gardens, and have our wineries and have our brewing companies all across Guyana to bring peace, tranquility, love, excitement, and enjoyment to our people. Fresh air, fresh food, no GMO food, but organic food, fruits and vegetables to lift our people from their sickness and madness. And the people has the audacity to believe that they can move a magic wand and just keep the diaspora out of Guyana. No, they don't have that right. God has given
Well,
them
that's
the
a
right.
great point you made, because I noticed in the laws of Guyana, and this is directly relevant to Guyanese like you and me and leaders of this community going back, that you got to live in Guyana for 7 years and you got to renounce your citizenship here, although we have such a great relationship with the United States, in order
Yes,
for you to be a member of parliament or for you to run for president or prime minister. And that is a draconian, and you use that term, it's thing there that about living and so on. Because if the United States don't have those stringent conditions, look at Bamdani, he was not even born here, but he was able to become mayor. Look
that's
at
right.
folks, you know, I mean, there's an equal opportunity for thing. It must not create these barriers to keep people out who can help, or people who have
That's
made the
right.
sacrifice of coming to
That's
live in
right.
America. You should benefit, especially since American Guyana has such a great relationship.
That's true.
So they have to remove that law, and that, for example, they caused like Minister Greenwich. I think he had to renounce his UK citizenship in order to be a member of parliament or a minister. You got to live in Guyana for 7 years continuously. They should get rid of all of this stuff here. So you don't
Yes,
have so you bring in new blood, you bring in experienced blood, you bring in people who can help the country, you're bringing people who are qualified, you're bringing people who's not coming there to make money or trying to get money from other people. These are people who have earned the right to help develop Guyana. They've always been champions. They've always
that's
fought.
right. That's right. That's right. So we
That is
need
why
to,
you have to bring
yeah,
up with that.
yeah, definitely. And with your in-depth knowledge of law, you are most qualified to institute and to bring those laws to the table in our constitution, that we have a modern constitution that really caters to all our people, because at the end of the day, they have knowledgeable, qualified people like yourself, not only in law, in engineering, in all sorts of fields in technology and science. And when you do those things, you are keeping your best minds out. That's how illiterate this government is. Very dark and sinister. You need your best and bright minds to come in to help you, regardless of race, religion, or economic level. The point is, you need your best people to return, and so you must create the incentives, the avenue, and the landscape that encourages them to come back, so your country can progress. But when you have a government like the PPP who's always stigmatizing and reaching out to unalive people and all of that nonsense, people won't want to come back there. And so I would like to see greater aggression and aggressiveness, that we truly begin to make that move where leaders like yourself can begin to have a presence in Guyana, and where you begin to build your political career and momentum to bring the change that Guyanese so desire, both in and out of Guyana. And thank you for your wonderful startling contributions to the diaspora and Guyanese at home. Thank you so much, Mr. Albert.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Apostle. And I appreciate your kind words. I thank you for contributing to the show. I thank you for encouraging me and others to be part of Guyana and yourself, because after all, our hearts lie in Guyana. and we call for changes to the constitution, changes for us to be welcome to our homeland. Our navel string is buried there, as we say in Guyana. We would love to help. We're not coming for money. We're coming to assist. We're coming to make sure tragedies like these don't occur and recur again. And we want to open up this place. The whole world is global. I've been talking to people in Mali, talking to people in Latam on this same, in a small room here in Queens, in my study. Look at the world is so interconnected yet now. And we are refusing our own expatriates. You know, in Israel and all these countries, they don't stop their people from coming back and becoming presidents, prime ministers, and leaders there and member of parliament. They welcome them with open arms because it's not about where you live in, it's where your heart is. And that is why they have to make sure
That's true.
that these things are done
True,
in a
true.
way that that all the best people are here, serving in the ministry, serving with God, serving mankind, serving science. These are all things that must be done and completed at the earliest possibility, and that is not being done. They always tell you where you were. They try to like not welcome you, and they try to